Good morning. I am both a lifelong UU and a lifelong witch. I grew up in this community, and I didn't know that I was a witch until my sister told me. I was quite surprised. I knew I was aware of things others weren't simply by paying attention, but it didn't cross my mind that it meant anything that had a name. My dear older sister Amanda, which a few of you will remember from our growing up days, told me sometime during my high school years, and it took me by surprise that she bothered to share that with me, that she actually thought about me enough to recognize my skills, mostly due to the fraught nature of our relationship at the time. How could anyone who was so annoyed by me spend so much time thinking about me, processing what they've observed, and then decide to share it with me? Maybe it was clear as day and it took no time at all. Maybe she was joking, but regardless, I knew that it was important to me on some level if she had bothered to share it with me. And that just moved me all the more coming from her because of those rocks. So I mulled it over in my own time and I let it simmer. I've developed skills that have kept me safe, built friendships, and learned a wealth of peace and security that has no other place in my life to grow. Curled up on a comfy couch, 4-year-old Lily Bernard in my lap, I read her a book featuring witches around Halloween, and it struck me, Lily, do you know what a witch is? No. It is a person who knows their power and uses it for good. Not necessarily the best explanation for a 4-year-old, but maybe more fitting for you. The word witch is non-gendered, contrary to popular belief. Some people identify as wizards, warlocks, or other names that they feel are more accurate to their practice and gender identity. For ease and perspective, I'll refer to all magic practitioners as witches, because I am a witch. Remember your umbrella. Not all witches are Wiccan, just like all UUs are technically Christians, very, very technically, but not all UUs are Christian. In my opinion, witches are people who listen to the still small voice inside. They practice listening and listening and listening, and then by living, exploring, and developing their own voice and power. They wield it in many ways, not only for themselves, but for others as well. My primary forms of practice today are as a healer and a kitchen witch. As a healer, it usually means one of two things. A friend is sharing their woes and is looking for some words of peace, guidance, or affirmation. The other is when counsel will spill out of me uncontrollably when a wonderful acquaintance or newer friend decides to share their soft white underbelly needs with me. It is truly like a spring. I have said bold statements and given advice and clapped my hands over my mouth for fear of offending or hurting others. If my brain can overpower the spring, I will tell people, particularly I've met you 20 minutes ago, people, what I'm about to tell you just comes out of me. Please take what serves you and leave the rest, which is how I want you to approach this sermon. If you need to go on a trip in your mind somewhere else too, I get that. I can also see people for what they are and what they aren't. That is a whole other sermon unto itself. My practice as a kitchen witch is primarily creating for those who I hold dear. As I'm creating, I turn my thoughts to health and taste, and other times simply just taste, particularly when I'm making a trifle. It is one of my life's deepest joys to share food that is made by hands you know. It is the stuff of life. As I cook, I have a mindset of health, nourishment, and repair to those who eat what I have made, that some part of their mind or soul may be satiated and at peace with what I have prepared. Some kitchen witches are much more direct and prefer spoken spells as they cook. Mine is much softer, a bit more lazy, if you will, that it might just do the trick. Part of the reason why I love cooking is there is a process, a rhythm, that flows in creation that soothes the inner chaos of ADHD and nagging chronic pains. I'm able to exist in a world different than this one, where I'm almost fully able-bodied. I've been disabled by various health conditions as I age, and as I age, they escalate just as much as I do. Being able to exist in a world without feeling all my limitations is a peace I wish you never need to long for. If it does, may it visit you in old age. May you find your peace swiftly, and may you find a bounty. The Witches in My Coven, shout out to Reddit's Witches versus Patriarchy forum, is an online forum that aims to dismantle patriarchy. Everyone is welcome as long as they respect witchcraft. They don't necessarily have to be a witch or a wizard, because patriarchy hurts everyone. As an example, my coven generally regards love spells as only fitting for self-love, as romantic love spells remove consent from at least one party, and we all know that consent is both cool and mandatory. As for curses and hexes, they are generally not well received in my coven. We tend to recommend freezer spells that may stop someone or a group of people, or using mirrors to help bounce someone's energy back on towards themselves so they may understand what they might be doing to others. It may sound very silly. Spells are not something I particularly practice. As a child, when others would cry in the grocery store, I would cry too. Some witches have an inclination to others' moods and the emotional temperature of spaces. If you have a child like this, I hope you accept their understanding of people. You might like to provide them headphones, travel coloring opportunities, or other tools to help them tune things out as needed and cope with their skills. It is very tiring and stressful to be so aware. Witchcraft provides me a deep sense of protection, as I know to listen to my body when it comes to its needs. My earthly arrival was 3 months too soon, folded in half, and weighing less than 2 pounds. My trajectory was chaotic, and it was one of those lifelong trends, not really a phase. Recently, I figured out the lifelong range of symptoms has a name and is actually a thing. Anyone who has irregular experiences with their health, no matter how common, understands that there is a different rhythm of existing, one that is centered around your needs, wandering from symptom to symptom, thinking about what do I need, how can I cope, if I go out, will I be able to do this thing and be okay? Will I need to sleep an extra 5 hours? Those of us who may feel trapped or stuck inside our bodies know how to live differently, as we need to, not as the world assumes, or strangers think we should, or families wish we could, or friends or coworkers who get pissed off at us. Bear with me, as this portion of my sermon will be a bit nonsensical. It will make sense, hopefully, in due time. Witchcraft has been an excellent guide for me to people as well, stranger and friend alike. Do you ever see a stranger in the same room and understand, I need to stay away from them, simply based on nothing but a thought that popped into your head or a gut feeling? Intuition can really protect you and keep you safe, and I firmly believe that it's something everyone can listen to and develop, and it can guide you. Or when a friend pauses a bit in their reply, do you know that their answer is indeed the opposite? So the holiday of Halloween is coming up soon. In the Celtic culture, it's known as Samhain. It's celebrated by many witches, and it is when the veil between our world and the other veil is thinning. It's at its thinnest during this time. We dress up in costumes to protect each other, to protect ourselves from getting scared by other spirits trying to cross over. I firmly believe that ghosts are real. Maybe not in the way you're thinking. Our renter, David, has mentioned to me he's had to go tell potentially a ghost to stop playing the piano at 10 or 11 o'clock at night when no one has been renting the castle. No one else is here but him and the ghost. I believe it only because I've experienced things that have made me believe it. I was always very skeptical. This sermon's title came from my first experience that made me understand there are so many senses, much more than 5. You understand when someone's staring at you, probably. Perhaps if someone's following you. The experience made me believe that there is much more than what we see with our eyes, and what we feel in our bodies can be a different experience than everyday life. Some people may call this a different dimension or another world. And now here's the time where I'm gonna cry. and I'll just try to speak when I'm easy to understand. In 2001, I was anxious after school because I hadn't heard from my best friend about when we were exactly going to trick or treat. Upsettingly, we went to different schools, so phone calls and frequent play dates had to suffice. She was in the ER, and her headache was 2 weeks old. She hadn't been to school. Every parent's worst nightmare was confirmed. She had a brain tumor. 50 weeks later, on a Thursday, I was eating lunch in the loud gym. It frequently reeked of bleach. It was 12:20 or 12:40. I looked at the clock because I knew something was wrong. I needed a timestamp to ask my mom. I remember the exact thought I thought. Did someone we know get into a car accident or get hurt today? I just knew. The day before, I'd gone to share my last words with her. I knew she was in hospice. I knew what it meant, but my brain couldn't let me fully understand. I knew as soon as I got home, because my mom had to tell me right away. She had died around 6 in the morning, a few hours prior. And that connection made me believe in witchcraft. It is a deep testament to connection and what caring for other people can do for you. I don't have a wrap-up other than this phrase that came to me while I was writing different parts of my sermon, which I have included none of. Don't let anyone fool you, including yourself. All water is holy.